everybody on their computer right now.
Carrie Hopperstadt's 3 sons are home today. For the next 2 weeks, they'll be learning online.
In the wake of the coronavirus outbreak, precautionary measures continue to intensify.
School leaders and health experts say a long-term shutdown of districts across the state seems more and more likely.
The list of college shutdowns is growing, but they're not all the same.
I've been taking all my classes online since March 23rd, and the way I've been learning has totally changed. Instead of in-person lectures, breakout discussions, all the things I'm familiar with, it's been reading PDFs, watching videos, taking Zoom calls, and many, many, many discussion posts. What's been socially engaging has now been just me in my bedroom, typing on my laptop all day. But now with my dog, of course. I never expected a pandemic would spread across the globe in the middle of my freshman year, and I never expected that such a pandemic could rapidly alter daily living, including our schooling, in the way that it has. This is our first time taking classes online for many undergraduate students across the United States, and it's a transition that came with a lot of confusion.
Yesterday, USC announced that we're going to be moving to all online instruction for the rest of the semester, which I was like, this is inevitable. I just wish there would have been more precise and faster with the decisions that they made.
They extended spring break for 2 weeks. And then yesterday is when they canceled the semester.
We all saw schools around us kind of going online or closing or shutting down. I heard about a bunch of other schools before UW did anything, but I think it was only when someone in the faculty tested positive that's when they were like, okay, classes need to be moved online.
A few days later, they told us that I really sent an email. They're like, you're not allowed to come back for this semester. Don't come back and get your belongings. We're gonna have online classes. You have an extra week of break for professors to figure it out. But basically, the semester is over.
As we've now created physical barriers between each other, social media has risen to become a tool for students to express and interact with this change. There's been memes, reposts that share community resources, and political organizing. And it's clear, these are confusing and emotional times for everyone.
Coming home after a year of being overseas, it feels like a holiday. Having to study is kind of weird. I haven't studied here in a while, and just that change in mindset is kind of strange. So I feel definitely it'll be a bit difficult for the first few weeks of pushing myself and stuff.
When I'm at school, I can kind of compartmentalize and concentrate on school. Now where I'm at home, it's just so overwhelming with all the news and everything that's going on. So I don't really know how I'm gonna perform in my classes.
The nature of learning has changed in many ways. We live in a time of great uncertainty now, so it's much more difficult to motivate yourself and to distinguish these lines between work and home. Classes, especially seminars or labs, are not as engaging as they used to be. Of course, online education has the potential to be really rewarding. Lots of graduate students have taken classes online before this pandemic. In its best form, online learning can be just as engaging and accessible as in-person learning. But I think what's been making it really tough for young students, including myself, is that we keep on comparing it to our first semester. Above everything, we're grieving an experience that's been lost.
It's like I'm doing college without the college. I'm just doing the school part. And, something really important about college is the social life and meeting people in your major and interacting with professors. And that's going to be a very stunted area. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be a much worse semester.
What's even more important is that this transition has brought more attention to the social and economic inequities that affect our education system. Not everyone was prepared for distance learning, faculty and students included. I have a professor that doesn't have stable Wi-Fi, so I'm only able to reach her over email. Many low-income first-generation students are currently demanding better assistance from their colleges. And international students have to keep up with their classes now from continents away.
Well, for me, as like an international student, like they haven't announced whether these classes will be like live or anything. So like imagine like the time difference if like my class is at like 3 p.m. Like would I have to get up at 3 to like attend class? Like all these logistics are like still like being sorted out, and I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I'm really lucky that I have good internet in my home. I have like a room I can go into without like my parents or I don't know, like siblings who need like care or something like that. So well, at first I think I was really like shocked and the whole news made me kind of like scared and anxious. I'm realizing now that like it sucks, but I am lucky enough to like make it work. And I know that a lot of my classmates don't have those opportunities, and so I'm really worried about my friends who like don't have internet access at home or don't have like up-to-date computers that will like be able to handle all this software.
It's evident that many schools were unprepared for such an immediate fundamental change in learning and college life. Higher education is not as democratized as we'd like it to be, and going fully online without increased resources could lead higher education to become even more inaccessible for the marginalized and disadvantaged. Students that don't have access to high-speed internet, or students that don't have stable housing, or students that are currently taking care of sick relatives will not be able to academically thrive in the same way as they were before this pandemic. Although this change was necessary for public safety, it is imperative that these students continue to be given adequate support by their communities and their colleges.
I think it's like ultimately like for the best, because like college campuses is just like one big group of people constantly exchanging all the time. For like elderly people and for like immunocompromised people, it's best that like we move to online classes. I just wish like colleges would have handled it a little bit better.
While this situation isn't ideal, I don't necessarily like resent the fact that I'm home and I can't be at school, because I know that it's like nobody's fault, and at the end of the day, I'm sure if we all were still on campus, people would get sick, it would just be like a way worse situation. But I just really wish that the administration would respond more to like student needs.
Even though we're all now separated, it doesn't mean we have to be alone. We're all interacting with the world on the same interface, and that sense of community can maybe make these times a little less lonely. Instead of trying to replicate the life we previously had, we can use the tools that we have online to create new social and educational spaces. Zoom classes could double as mental health check-ins. Social media can be used to reach out to friends that you've lost touch with. And most of all, we can use all these platforms to learn from and advocate for people that deserve to be included in this new form of higher ed. We have a long way to go until we could ever consider this normal. But let's hope it gets easier with time, familiarity, and support.